Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss on the topic of semiconductor. So first we have to know what is semiconductor. As you have studied earlier, there is three type of materials present in this universe. That is, we can divide them according to their conductivity into three types. That is, one is conductor, one is insulator, and other is semiconductor. Conductor is that type of material which can conduct electricity and their conductivity is very high. So they can conduct a huge amount of electricity. But in case of insulator, their conductivity is very less, nearly equals to zero. That means they cannot conduct electricity like wood, plastic, rubber, etc. And the other or third type is semiconductor, which is in between conductor and insulator, which conduct electricity in very less amount in room temperature. But if we increase the temperature or increase the potential difference against the two terminals of the semiconductor, then they can conduct a huge amount of electricity. Otherwise, in room temperature, they conduct in very less amount. So their conductivity is very low, but not zero. This type of materials are germanium, silicon, and some alloy like gallium arsenide, etc. etc. So now the question arises, why we study semiconductor physics? So all of us are familiar with some simple application of electronics like the radio, television, and calculator, mobile phone, and computer also. So if we look inside the electronic equipment, we will find that resistors, capacitor, inductor, transformer, valves, semiconductor diodes, transistor, and ICs, which are connected in a board. So the diodes and transistor are new to us. So in modern electronic system, the whole electronic circuit containing many diodes, transistor, resistor, etc. is fabricated in a single chip, which are termed as integrated circuit, and we abbreviated it as a IC. So uses of semiconductor material like diodes, transistors are huge. Diodes are used in a circuit as a switch, as they can conduct electricity in one direction, or diodes act like or semiconductor diodes acts like a valve which can flow the current only in one direction. So it can be used in a circuit to restrict the flow of current in the alternate direction. Thus, the unidirectional conducting property of diode finds great application in electronics. The power available at the mains at our homes, generally these are AC voltage. Quite often we require DC power to operate some appliances like mobile charger or TV or some other appliances which runs on DC. So the diodes makes it possible to convert AC or alternating current into DC. So along with diode, the other component is transistor, used as an amplifier. That means it can amplify the power or sound. When you use a JBL box, we need to amplify the electrical signal so that the box can produce a huge amount of sound. So to amplify that sound, we need some amplifier, and in a amplifier box you can find that there are an IC which is made up of transistor built within it. So they can not only amplify the sound signal, they can also amplify the power of a system or amplify the signal. So next question arises, that why we choose semiconductor. The answer is, the semiconductor material are neither good conductor and nor insulator. At room temperature, these materials have conductivities considerably lower than that of conductors, but much higher than that of insulator. It is for this reason that these materials are classified as semiconductor. When we increase the temperature of the metal conductor such as copper, aluminium, silver, their resistivity will increases. You have studied this in class 10 in Ohm's law. But when we raise the temperature of a semiconductor material, its resistivity decreases. And at higher temperature, semiconductor conducts better than a conducting material. So, semiconductor have a negative temperature coefficient resistance. That means with the increase in temperature, resistivity will decrease. That signifies negative temperature coefficient. So, when an appliance runs for a few minutes, it will heat up, and due to this heat, its conductivity will decrease if we use a conducting material. But if we use a semiconducting material, then after few times when it's heat up, its conductivity will increase and the material will provide more current passes through them. The semiconductor have another very important property, that the conductivity of a semiconductor can be changed to a very large extent by adding very small amount of some specific material like impurity. The benefits of choosing semiconductor are finally that one is it has a negative temperature coefficient, that is with the increase in temperature resistivity decreases and conductivity increases by a huge amount. And second is with the we can control the conductivity of semiconductor by choosing a proper doping material or impurity for the semiconductor. So now we are going to discuss about energy bands in solid. To understand the energy band, we first need to know about the structure of an atom. So in an atom, there is electron, proton and neutron. The main three subatomic particles are present. Proton and neutron are situated in nucleus, a very tiny place inside an atom, and electron revolves around them. You have studied it in a brief in class 9 and in class 11. So we are not going to discuss in brief about the structure of atom. The electron revolving in an orbit has a specific amount of energy, and so that the orbit or imaginary orbits of the cell are known as energy level. So for a isolated atom, the energy level are quantized and they have a specific or definite values, because in a crystal there are numerous number of atoms present and they are situated very close to each other in a crystal form. When they are situated, the electron of one atom can be affected by the electron of the other atom and also by the nucleus of the other atom. So the energy level of different atom have different values. But in case of the inner shell, the effect of the other atom's nucleus or the effect due to the nucleus and electron of the other atom is very negligible. Hence it will not applicable for the inner shell, but for the outermost shell modification is appreciable, because the electrons are shared by many neighboring atoms. This sharing you have studied in case of covalent bond. As you know, carbon and silicon are the same group element, that is group number 4. So as you have seen that carbon has 4 sharing electron by sp3 hybridization. So in this case also silicon has also 4 outermost electron which can be shared with another silicon atom, and due to this sharing or overlapping of energy level, the energy of the electron or the cell will modified. Due to the influence of the high electric field between the core of the atom, that means nucleus, and the shared electron, the energy level are split up and spread out, forming energy band. Consider a single crystal of silicon having n number of atoms, and each atom can be associated with a lattice site. So in this graph you can see that the electronic configuration of silicon, and there in the y direction the energy level of the different electrons, and in the x-axis the interatomic spacing. So as you can see in the first cell 1s2, so each isolated atom has only a certain number of orbits available. These available orbits represented energy levels for the electrons. Modern physics tells that only discrete values of electron energies are possible. That means if we take hydrogen atom, then we see that the energy of the first orbit is minus 13.6 electron volt and the second orbit is 3.6 electron volt approximately. So in this case the energy of the electron revolving in the first orbit will be minus 13.6 electron volt, and those electrons who are revolving in the second orbit, their energy will be 3.6 electron volt. So there will be no electron which is revolving around the nucleus with energies in between minus 13.6 and 3.6. So these are the two discrete value or the two permissible values of energy for hydrogen atom. Now when an atom bonds together to form a solid, the simple diagram for the electron energies is no longer applicable. In solid, the orbit of an electron is influenced not only by the charges in its own atom but by the nucleus and electron of every atom in that solid. Since each electron occupies a different position inside the solid, no two electrons can see exactly the same pattern of surrounding charges. As a result, the orbits of the electrons are different from one another. There are millions of electrons belonging to the first orbit of the atoms in each solid. Each of them has different energy. Since the millions of first orbit of electrons are closely spaced energy level, differentiating very slightly in energy from a cluster or band, that is seen in here. That here the first energy level of the lattice of millions of atoms of silicon forms, and this cluster or band is known as energy band. So in this case, here is, if we consider the n number of atoms present in a crystal, then there will be 2n number of electrons present in the 3s orbital, and in case of 3s there will be also 2n number of energy levels. So 2n number of energy levels is completely filled by 2n number of electrons. So this orbit is completely filled. But in case of 3p, there is, for one atom there is 6 energy level. In case of the crystal, there will be 6n number of energy level which will be splitted in this region. There will be 6n number of energy level, and among the 6n number of energy level there will be 12 number of energy level will be completely filled by these 12 number of electron of the p orbital. So out of 8n number of energy levels, 4n number of energy levels will be filled up by 4n number of electrons of the outermost shell, and another 4n number of energy levels will be free, which will be in the upper region. So there will be a gap between these two energy level, and this gap is known as forbidden energy gap. So when the electron, these foreign in number of electrons will gain that much of energy to overcome the energy gap, then they will accommodate themselves into a specific energy level, and they will behave like an free electron, and they will helps in the conduction of electricity. In the first diagram, there shows that the conduction band is partially filled, but if we give some extra energy to the electron, they can easily reach to the empty energy level above the filled one. So this portion of the conduction band is filled, but this portion is empty. If we give some energy to this electron, they will move into the upper part of the conduction part, which are free, and if we move that electron into this region, or in the free part of the conduction band, then they can conduct electricity. The highest energy level in the conduction band occupied by electron in a crystal at absolute zero temperature is called Fermi level, and the energy corresponding to this energy level is called Fermi energy. If the electron gets through the energy to go beyond this level, then the conduction takes place. So we have to give some energy to move that electron into the conduction band, and after that they can conduct electricity. But in case of semiconductor, there is a certain energy gap which is nearly equal to 1 electron volt present in between the conduction band and the valence band. Energy band gap for silicon is 1.1 electron volt, and that of germanium is 0.74 electron volt. So at absolute zero temperature, the semiconductor will behave like an insulator, but with the increase in temperature or with the increase in electric field, external electric field, by applying the battery, we can supply some energy to the electron of the valence band, and hence the electron will move into the conduction band like this, and due to this, an free electron will produced in the conduction band, and a hole will created, or free space that will be created in the lower band or valence band. So these black dots are holes which are vacant in this case, and they are seemed as positive charge carrier, and the electron are negative charge carrier. As there is a deficiency of negative charge carrier, so these place are seemed as a positive charge carrier and termed as hole. So any movement of this region is referred to as a positive hole moving from one position to another position. How can a hole move inside a valence band? The energy provided by the heat at room temperature is sufficient to lift the electron from the valence band to the conduction band. Some electrons do jump the gap and go into the conduction band. Therefore, at room temperature, semiconductors are capable of conducting some electric current. And in case of insulator, the energy band gap of the forbidden region is nearly equals to 5 electron volt or more. Because of this, it is practically impossible for an electron in the valence band to jump into the conduction band. For example, diamond has a forbidden energy gap of 7 electron volt. So both types of charge carrier can move randomly or haphazardly in a crystal. The random movement of a free electron is easy to understand. A free electron moves in a crystal because of the thermal energy or thermal agitation. Its path deviates whenever it collides with a nucleus, and this gives rise to the zigzag or random motion similar to the gas molecules moving in a container. Now let's see how an hole movement takes place. whenever an electron breaks a covalent bond and becomes free. Consider that an electron-hole pair is generated at a point A in this figure. For example, we take this electron as A. Now, the free electron goes elsewhere in the crystal, leaving behind a hole at point A. So, this point becomes hole. So, we make it a black. So, this place is vacant. And this electron will move in the conduction region, leaving a vacant space in the valence band. So, this A point, this vacant space at the A point is known as hole. The broken bond now has only one electron, and this unpaired electron has a tendency to acquire an electron and to complete the pair and form a bond. So this valence space needs one electron to complete this bond. Hence, due to thermal energy, an electron from the neighboring bond may get sufficient excited to break its own bond. Suppose this electron may jump into this hole, and after that the hole is filled and a new position of the hole is created, and due to this the original hole has apparently moved from point A to this position. So we find that the movement of hole in a particular direction actually consists of a series of discontinuous electrons movement in the opposite direction. It is for this reason that the holes appear to travel more slowly than the free electron. Although the movement of the holes actually consists of the movement of the electrons, this movement of the electrons is different from the movement of the holes different from the movement of the holes because of the movement of the electrons in the valence band. Actually, the holes move because of the jumpy movement of the valence electrons from one position to the other. This jumpy movement of the valence electrons need not to be considered at all, since we are concerned about the net effect, that is, the movement of the holes. Therefore, in future discussion, whenever we talk of electron movement, it would imply the movement of the free electron and not of the valence electron. The free electron moves randomly in the conduction band, whereas holes moves randomly in the valence band.